Okay, this is a lesson on the 1-4-5 chord in the key of G, which is what our banjo is normally tuned to. And so to make sure we are in tune, I'm going to go through the open strings. It's your high G, D, G, B, D. Okay, we're also going to do one of the most famous Scruggs licks. So if we do not fret anything, that is a G. First position C is second finger, second fret, fourth string. First finger, first fret, second string. Third finger is second fret of the first string. That should sound like this. And that is the 4 chord in the key of G. So when I say 1, 4, and 5, that's like most bluegrass tunes, most folk type songs, blues, they use what's called a 1, 4, and 5. So the G chord is the 1. You count up 4 letter names and you get to the C. G, A, B, C. You go to the 5 and it will be D. And the D 7th chord is a very simple chord. So going from the C, your first finger just is, again, doesn't move. It's on the first fret of the second string. Your second finger is the second fret of the third string. And it should sound like this. And this drone string, the 5th string, it's not in the chord, but it doesn't really matter because it's just a fill note. And that chord right there, piece of cake chord, you want to like walk into it at the beginning, like bum bum, but you want to just put them both down at the same time once you get comfortable with the shape. Same with the C chord. First position C chord should just go down. You should be able to hammer that down and hear those notes. They should all go down at the same time. So you want to work on fretting by putting your fingers down all at the same time. It's a matter of physical muscle motor memory. We've been over this. And it's just memorizing that shape. And that's that. So here we go. So that's your 1, 4, and 5 chords. Those are basic chords and you're going to use them a lot. Okay, now we went over, there's different names for these roll patterns. But what I call the reverse roll, or forward and reverse roll, is 3, I'm talking strings now. 3, 2, 1, 5, 1, 2, 3, 1. I'm not talking picking fingers, I'm talking strings. 3, 2, 1, 5, 1, 2, 3, 1. You want to be very comfortable with your right hand picking on that. I call it forward and reverse because you're moving forward and then right back in the reverse picking. I'll play this through a couple of times. Now, certain notes in these roll patterns, and these roll patterns have to be smooth and even. Some notes are what we call fill. They're not as important. They just keep the music moving forward and make it like an easy pattern to play a bunch of notes, basically. But you might bring out certain notes. So when your thumb is playing on that third string, that is a melody note. So it might come out a little more. Sorry. Okay. Now, using that roll pattern, there is this very cool lick, Earl Scruggs classic style. he uses it a lot. Okay? So a slide is when you fret a note and then slide either up or down to another pitch. So the slide that you want to work on is from on the 3rd string, 2nd fret, up to the 4th fret. So what that is that's an A, G is your open 3rd string, 2nd fret is an A, and you're sliding it up to a B. And that 4th fret of the 3rd string is the same note as the open 2nd string. You could tune your banjo that way. Okay? So once you're comfortable with that slide, then you're going to incorporate it into this roll. A pull-off is when you have, usually it'll be 2 fingers, and you're attacking once, and then you're lifting off your finger or pulling it off to get a lower pitch. You could do it from a fretted note to the open string. So that's the 2nd fret, 3rd string, and I'm kind of pushing up and making it come off the string where we hear 2 notes but only 1 attack with your picking hand. Now, one that's used a lot is the 3rd fret to the 2nd fret of the 3rd string. So you want to be very comfortable doing that. And once you get comfortable just doing the pull-off and doing the slide, then you're going to incorporate those 2 into that forward and reverse roll. So I'm not going to show you the picking hand because we went over that, but it'll be like this. So it's a slide, pull off. And we're playing 8 notes. It's the same roll as which are forward and reverse roll, all open strings, but when we incorporate that slide on the 3rd string and the pull off on the 3rd string, we're starting to play bluegrass. And it'll usually go to the open 3rd string. So let me play this through a few times. Now the timing on the slide and the pull off could be a little different. So if these 8 notes in the roll pattern, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. If we're going to say they're 16th notes, then your slide is probably 2 32nd notes and the pull off is 2 32nd notes. So it's so you want that to be smooth. So you've got to be able to play the roll pattern, obviously, first. You've got to be comfortable of getting to that 4th fret and going no further. We want to hear 2 pitches. And the pull off, 2 distinct pitches. So the pull off, it's not just coming exactly up off the string. You're kind of like pushing a little bit either up or down with your finger. You'll hear the sound. If you're playing it right, it's going to sound like this. Now I'm kind of hitting the 4th string there by accident, but when you get this going, you're not even going to hear any of these. That's the beauty of the open tuning. If you did hit a wrong string, plucked a wrong string, it's not going to sound bad. make sure it goes through to the downbeat of the next measure, which, as I said, is usually going to be an open G, the third string. Let me play this a couple of times. You want to become very comfortable with this. It's in a ton of songs. Okay, so this should be or could be your introduction to slides and hammer-ons or pull-offs. So actually we did the pull-off, we did the slide, we did not do a hammer-on. So a hammer-on is when you have the open string or fretted at one place and then you hammer down to a higher note. So pull-offs are going to go, your first attack note goes down to a lower note. A hammer-on, it goes up. And a good way to practice the hammer-on is either on your C chord or the D. So this is your D7th, as we went over. So you could hammer the open third string to the second fret of the third string. And that is our same forward and reverse roll as this. So let me play this a couple times. Here's our D7. Here we go. Hammer-ons and pull-offs and slides are considered articulation, which is one of the 5 parameters of music. They're a big deal. It's what makes music interesting. It makes it so it's not just plain Jane. It adds a little seasoning to whatever we're doing. I could go, but it just doesn't sound right. And if we went to the C chord, you could do it. And I'm hammering on to the 4th string. But it's used a lot more, I believe, on this D7th. And the beginning of Friday Mountain Breakdown, you're hammering from the 2nd fret of the 2nd string to the 3rd. So hammer-ons, slides, and pull-offs, you want to become very comfortable with them. I would get comfortable with them before you start to read tablature or learn a song, but I mean, that's up to you. If you're happy with the sound, that's all that matters. But just these little exercises, like I've said before in my Earl Scruggs in the 5-string banjo book, he'll show you one of these licks like this, and then tell you to play it 100 times, literally 100 times. So you've got to have this smooth. So just to recap, the forward reverse roll, I'm naming strings now. 3, 2, 1, 5, 1, 2, 3, 1. That's the forward and reverse roll. You want to just take and introduce these hammer-ons and slides and pull-offs. Or so work on that, have fun, and just start, getting comfortable with this stuff.